welcome everybody to 100% Affinity Archdemon Dual Blade build. I am the 7th Sword, and now it's time. Since this build requires high rank monster armor, I am putting a spoiler alert here for anyone who does not want to be spoiled by what monsters are in the game, because the name of the armor will reveal what monsters there are. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to see what it would be like to make a dual blade build revolve around Archdemon mode, because it's probably the best it's ever been in any Monster Hunter. It's faster, it's more fluid, it's capable of outputting more damage, and it retains a lot of what makes Demon mode incredible. And that led me to think of this build, so let's get right into the equipment. Now, I'm retaining the Nightwings from my last dual blade build because these just have the highest base affinity, and I wanted to go for affinity and critical boost. So Nightwings were the best way to do that. They have a little bit of natural white sharpness, and they cannot be increased by handicraft, as you see, because the bar is full. This is kind of a problem. It's a positive and a negative, because since you're in white sharpness you get a higher damage output, but because there's so little of it and dual blades eat through sharpness like no one's business, you get down to blue pretty quickly. So most of this build is about maintaining the blue sharpness as much as possible, and then having to sharpen once you get to green. Alright, next we've got the golden headdress, which has a 2 slot and a 1 slot. We've got the golden Hiyori, which has the level 2 slot decoration. We got Zinogre braces, which has 1 2 slot decoration. Golden Obi, which is 1 slot. Golden Hakama, which is 2 1 slots. I'm just going with Fortitude Petal Ace just because I like my extra stamina. And then I got lucky with this talisman. I got one that has 1 level of Razor Sharp and Constitution on it, just because I've got that level 2 decoration slot there. These are the decorations that I put on here. On the dual blades I have an Enhancer 2 jewel. On the golden headdress I have an Enhancer 2 jewel and a brace jewel. On the chest piece I've got an Enhancer 2 jewel. Zinogre braces I've got a jumping jewel 2 just for a little bit more evasion. I've got a grinder jewel on the golden Obi. I've got 2 grinder jewels on the golden Hakama, and again I have the physique jewel 2 on the talisman. It's important to notate that I actually do have a power charm and a power talent on this character so that I can get even more damage with this build. I also put attack boost 3 on the dual blades instead of affinity, and I'll explain this in just a moment. So the interesting thing about this build is it actually revolves around transforming into demon mode to fill up the Archdemon mode gauge, and once that happens you actually exit demon mode and then you continue the fight in Archdemon mode. And how that works is that once you are in Archdemon mode, your stamina will no longer deplete consistently. It will actually fill back up, and once it does, maximum might will activate. Once that happens, your affinity will be increased by 30%. Now at some point during the battle, roughly 3 minutes in after starting to fight with a large monster, or there's some sort of hit detection, how many times you hit the monster, it'll reduce the activation time of latent power. But once you meet these requirements, latent power will activate, and at rank 3 it'll increase your affinity by 30% and reduce stamina depletion by 50%. This works really well with Constitution, as I believe the cap now is you can get 75% stamina reduction. You're at the 70% mark here, which means your stamina consumption will be dramatically reduced. Power Prolonger is very, very important because it'll actually allow you to stay in Archdemon mode for much longer and therefore maximize your damage. And then Critical Boost is essential because at certain points during the battle you're going to be proccing 100% critical hits, so every single hit will then be boosted by 40% instead of the stock 25%. Then I have a little bit of Razor Sharp. Again, it's that lucky talisman. I would love to have level 3, that would be fantastic, or Protective Polish. I'm trying to see if I can incorporate those kinds of things in this build. Evade Extender just at level 1 to give you a little bit more distance when you evade. Flinch Free is absolutely essential for this build, because if you are in Archdemon mode, then you are not resistant to flinches like you are in Demon mode. Therefore, if you're playing with a group of people, you'll be knocked out of your combos, so you need to have this at level 1 at the very least in order for this to work. I actually do at some point plan to swap latent power out for just straight up critical eye, but I don't have enough decorations at this time. So right now latent power is kind of the easier way to get to this build, and the added on stamina reduction is very nice, but I do think overall having just straight up critical eye on here will be the better version. And once I get that, I will probably do a quick update to showcase just how much better or worse it is. It's probably gonna be better though. So this is essentially how this build is going to be played. You first start off by going into demon mode. You do your 6-fold demon slash because that's the fastest way to get your Archdemon gauge filled. Once it's filled, you transform out of demon mode. Your stamina fills back up, and in a moment the buff will activate. There you go, buff activates. So this is about how much damage you could expect to do with the buff activated. This is without latent power kicking in yet. So right now I'm at 70% affinity. Oh, latent power just kicked in. So now let's see what the damage output is right now, just in straight up Archdemon mode with the Demon Flurry 1. That's pretty solid. And then you can actually do this kind of combo, especially when the monster's knocked down. But then you lose your buff for the stamina for a little bit, but it'll come back. There it is. But basically this whole thing is just so that you can keep attacking in Archdemon mode rather than demon mode, so your stamina conservation is high. And again, power prolonger being active is crucial because you can stay in this much longer now. And you can just go into demon mode really quick to fill it back up, get back out, keep going with your Archdemon mode. I mean, so as you can see, the damage potential is actually pretty dang good on this build when everything is working together in harmony. But I really do think that this would still benefit from having critical eye instead of latent power. Even though the stamina buffs are nice with latent power, you'll still do more damage if you have critical eye active all of the time. But honestly, it's pretty fun. The dynamic of switching in and out of demon mode to get to Archdemon mode and things like that, it's a pretty fun dynamic. It kind of changes the way you play dual blades a little bit, and you can actually get some pretty decent damage out of this play style, which is really cool because honestly, Archdemon mode to me in Monster Hunter World wasn't really anything I focused on. I always just wanted to be in demon mode, and I was kind of doing that for this game too. But because of how versatile Archdemon mode is in this one, I thought I would give it a shot and see what you could do with it. So this is just the very beginning of it. I'm going to keep on investing some time into improving it, tweaking it, because I really think there is something really cool here, and I think it can be expanded upon. So please let me know what your thoughts are. Do you like this build? Do you hate this build? Do you loving dual blades? Do you loving Monster Hunter? Yeah, you know, just let me know in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you all later.